check out all of these. These are carnations. So these 4 trays are carnation. These are the snapdragons that I had up potted the other day with you guys. Here we have some foxglove. We have a bunch of those. Here are the hydrangea cuttings and the sweet peas. So these will be going out in the gardens in the next few weeks, which is why I have been spending a lot of time out here. Been spending so much time getting the garden beds ready. Oh, hi Bee. We're getting there. I am happy to report we are getting there. So that's what I wanted to do today. I wanted to come and take you guys along for a little garden update. All the things that are going on in the raised bed gardens. Feeling pretty good about it. I want to encourage you guys too, when you are tackling a project, or maybe you're buying a farm and transition yourself, whatever that looks like, it is a transition, right? It's a progress. I have been taking you guys along, showing you the progress, but I'm pretty sure there's a saying, Rome wasn't built overnight, and friends, let me tell you, neither are gardens and farms. I find that it's best if I kind of have a plan. You know what I mean? Like, we had such a vision for this raised bed garden that I could come in and I immediately knew how to like execute it and what I needed to do. And so that was easier. Having a plan made it easier for me to know. And then instead of cleaning out the garden beds to not plant them until next spring, I knew that there was this emphasis on urgency a little bit, because one, I knew that we needed to get the flowers in, but then you guys know I have been just diving headfirst in flowers, and so we have this part of the bed done for the most part with our fall and winter brassicas, but then the rest of the part, the beds that needed the most like just torn out of and things like that, I'm more excited to do that work because I know flowers are going in, and I know that this is something that I'm continuously learning and growing in, and that excites me. And so instead of coming out here and being like, oh man, I got another garden bed to clean out, I've been like, yes, let's clean it out. My favorite days are dirty hand days, and so I want to show you guys the progress. Also, we might have just had an animal dropped off here, and so I'm going to show you guys that before we end this vlog. But yeah, first of all, let's just go around. We harvested our first few things from the fall garden. We had some friends over for dinner the other night and ended up harvesting our salads from the Greenstalk. I am so impressed. I keep telling you guys, soil is huge, but literally the soil in here, I mean, look at this. Y'all just saw this when I planted it the other day. It's crazy. I wasn't even going to plant my other Greenstalk, but since these are doing so well and I have a bunch of this leaf lettuce left over that I didn't need it, place for it in the beds, I think I am gonna go ahead and put together that other Greenstalk, maybe. See what's gonna happen. Before we dart over here on what I have been working on, I want to show you guys on what has already been done. It is around 4 o'clock here, so it's really hot. We are still working through getting new irrigation laid, so I am having to hand water. Many of you guys have been asking, why are you hand watering? We had some issues with irrigation that had busted in, so we were replacing it, and so that is why. And we have really sandy soil, and so it's just not absorbing the water very well, and so I am having to come out here often. So some of these plants may look droopy because I was waiting for the sun to go down. You don't want to water your plants in the dead of the day because you could actually scorch them and do a lot of damage. So usually I try to get up early in the morning and do it. If I don't get it done early in the morning, then I wait until the afternoon to do it, which is the case that I'm in. You guys can see this side of the garden, the sun is starting to go down, so that's usually when I come out here and I'll water. We have our lovely green beans. After we harvested all those green beans, I came out here for dinner the other night, harvested a couple extra pounds, and probably by the end of the week, I'll be ready to harvest again. You guys can see we finally have some other ones running, but I've got some little broccoli down here. That is dipel dust, for those of you who may be asking. This is how we keep the caterpillars off. And we got our wire in here, but we do not have we ended up having to order more insect netting, so we don't actually have that done. And over here we've got our salad greens. There's our dino kale. We've got more cauliflower in there. down here we have all of our cabbages, which they are growing pretty quickly. They're actually doing a lot better than I thought. Look at all those radishes over there. So we are getting there. This part of the bed's pretty clean. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not planting anything over here. When the frost takes the beans out, we'll clean it off and then leave it. And then this will probably be just an empty bed. Mainly because we will always have this trellis up, like this long trellis for the beans. So I don't want to have to take it down to put it right back up, and I don't really have anything to put there anyways. So I am certainly just trying to not create extra work. Look at this. It's so dreamy though. It's one of my favorite parts of the garden. So I want to do what's gonna make sense, and tearing this down when I don't have anything to put in there. I could direct seed some stuff, but I also have a lot of space in the tunnel that I left to be able to direct seed this winter. So that's one of those things that I just didn't feel like it was worth really messing with. And I was kind of on a timeline really for these 3 beds right here. So many of you guys know we are co-farming with our friends Sean and Melanie. And essentially what that looks like is they are farming here with us while they are in pursuit for their forever farm. They live in an urban setting in town. They grow a lot of stuff in their backyard and sell to market, but they were still needing a bit more space. And so Sean and I partnered and kind of agreed to tag team the season, especially when I was in the season of transition and trying to figure out new systems that were going to work for me. You guys know Nathan has a job. This is what I do primarily. And so I just knew I was going to need help. And so it ended up working out great for the both of us. It benefited him and his family. It benefited me having an extra hand. And so these 3 beds behind me, which I'm going to show you guys, are actually Sean's beds, but we are working on them together. So he got this bed cleaned out, and in here we have 5 rows planted. We've kind of split it up in sections, but we have forget-me-nots and bachelor buttons maybe. So these will actually be overwintered, and then they will bloom in the early spring. And so we just laid down some insect netting on it. As you guys can see, we didn't do the hoops because we're not going to probably leave the insect netting on there. We transplanted them when they were really, really small, and so we were having an issue with grasshoppers getting them. And so we just kind of laid this down here as a temporary thing, and then I'll show you guys what we got going on behind us. So these little things, you can kind of, I mean, they're really small. You guys can see. That's why we had them covered up. But they're starting to get some true leaves on there, so that's great. We're just kind of having to give them some time and attention. This bed I have got on my list to do this week. And then this one back here we've worked on. So we're working just cleaning out all the dead plants. They'll all go to the compost pile. We will be taking down all of these trellises. And so, you know, hopefully next week when you guys see the vlog, these beds will look like that bed. You know, I have days where I feel like so good. The other day, Sean came over, Nathan was here. We just had like a super productive work day, and it was like, oh yeah, I can do this. And then if I'm being honest, there are other days where I feel like, oh my gosh, this is never gonna get to like what I have in my mind, what I am envisioning. And then I have to remind myself, I am a 3 on the Enneagram. Any other 3s out there, you guys, you already know what I'm about to say. We are very determined. There's probably a lot of other words I could use. I'm gonna choose determined. We're very determined, headstrong people. So when we have something in our mind, especially me, when I have something in my mind, I wanna do it, I wanna do it well. I wanna I wanna do the dang thing, you know? So I have all these great dreams for this space, and I'm ready to do the thing, but there's a lot of work that is required before you can do that. Before you can start planting the seed, there's a lot that needs to be done. And as I was thinking about that this week and working in the gardens and feeling that like, man, am I ever gonna get there? Like, this is a lot of work. Even just like at our old house, we never put up and took down like cattle panels and stuff like that. We just designated certain beds to that space. And so that alone, like taking down the cattle panels, like this is part of taking on a larger space. This is what comes with this. And I knew it was going to be challenging just trying to navigate that myself. And so I've spent a lot of time this week kind of reflecting on my goals for this garden, what I'm envisioning for this garden, and what I keep telling myself is good things take time. And it really is true. I could come in here and I could rush what I want to do out of me being impatient, or I could slowly come out here. I could do it well. I could put in systems in place that are going to make sense for me in the long run. And ultimately, I'll have a better garden and a better farm because of that in the long run. And I really encourage you guys, those of you who are in the season of doing the thing, if you will, I encourage you to not focus so much on getting it done quickly, but focus on yourself in the process of doing it. And I think that is what I have learned. I am learning really so much about myself in the process of this. I've been growing food, and we've lived on a farm for years now. And even just in the last few months of being here in this new space, I'm learning so much how I am growing as a person and as a gardener and as a thinker and a learner and a teacher. And I love it. I really do. I love it. And I would hate to rush this process and miss how it is refining me in the process, how I am learning through what I'm doing. And I think that it's easy to do that. We get caught up in the busyness of what has to be done. Well, I have to do this so I can plant it this time and harvest it this time, that we forget why we're planting it in the first place. Like, because I'm growing food because sustainability. I'm growing food because I love it. I'm growing food for so many different reasons that if I forget why I'm doing it, I'm not going to want to come back to it. And I was talking with a friend about this earlier, just really emphasizing on taking care of the gardener, or you're not going to go back to the garden. And this is something Jess and I talked about a lot in our course, is like, we have to take care of ourselves before we can steward this. And I'm in a place right now where I have so many dreams for this place, and I cannot wait to see them. But I don't want to risk my opportunity to do this right because I'm impatient and I'm in a hurry, right? And so I think that is what I have been learning, as it has taken me literally weeks and weeks to just like get a clean slate, if you will. I've had my attention divided between the tunnel and in here, and just knowing that doing this by yourself is a lot. And I'm certainly not doing this by myself. I have Nathan, like I said, my friend Sean is co-farming. We've had other friends come over and help me out, but primarily I have to set this up in a functioning way to where I can maintain it by myself, because this is my job. This is what I'm doing. And I say that to maybe give yourself some grace if you're in a season where you are gardening, but you still have a part-time job or a full-time job, or maybe you're a mom to littles, right? Like, that's challenging. That is hard. Give yourself grace that it's going to take time. It was not intended to be an overnight process. I always like to think of Erin at Floret. I don't know if you follow Floret Farms, but my goodness, that lady is such an inspiration. And she has a beautiful farm in Washington. She runs a flower farm. She's breeding flowers, doing amazing things. She's been on this journey for 20 years. Like, at 20 years, she is finally accomplishing what she had set out to do. And that makes me kind of ponder and ask myself, Jill, do you love it enough to where you're willing to wait 20 years to do it right before you can reap the reward and say, wow, I have done this thing that I've set out to do? And ultimately, I can. Like, I'm willing to wait however long it takes to make sure that I do it right, and make sure that I do it and I feel good about what I did. I feel proud about the work. I extended grace and love to my family in the process, and them to me, and really just kind of making it a family affair. And I don't know, I've just had that kind of on my heart a lot lately. Like, what's the point in doing it if you're doing it for the wrong reasons? And I know that that's easy, and you might think, well, of course you would only do, you'd only pursue gardening if you love it, but that's not true. Like, sometimes we can get caught up in so many other things that we really forget why we started in the first place. And it's easy to do. I can tell you right now, I have been guilty of that myself in the past. I'm sure many of us, if we were being honest with ourselves, could say we've gotten to a place where we've forgotten why we started what we were doing. And I am coming into a place where I am certainly remembering why I started. I am committed to be in this for the long haul. And there's such an ambition and a passion that ignites in you when you get back to that place, you get right in your heart, that it's just like, oh yeah, I'm excited. I could wait 20 years. I could wait. Well, really, I don't want to wait 20 years, y'all. It ain't gonna take 20 years. But if it had to, I could do it, I guess. And so I don't know. Have grace with yourself, guys. This is hard. Living a homesteading, sustainable farming lifestyle is hard. It's flipping rewarding, but just have grace with yourself in the process. I'm learning to have grace with myself in this process, that is for sure. But every new bed that we get cleaned, every new seed that I get planted or new transplant that goes in the ground, I feel a little bit more accomplished. I feel so proud, really, to live this lifestyle and get to do what I do. I was talking with a friend the other day, and I was like, does it ever just like hit you that like this is what we do? Like, I'm thankful. I'm just so stinking thankful. So thanks for having this little honest hour in the garden, if you will. But we got a new animal on our farm, and I'm gonna show you guys what that sweet little thing is. All right, I made a detour in the house. I told them that we got a new animal on the farm.
Yeah? Hey.
Do you want to tell them what it is?
We got another baby piggy.
Another baby piggy? Why did we get another baby piggy?
I bartered with Bintern.
So one thing I've learned is to not put up a fight, because how many times am I guilty of bringing random plants home or whatever? So if the man wants another pig, the man's gonna get another pig. But they're growing really fast. Is this one, like everything's the same? There's just another one from the litter?
Another one from the litter. We have got 3 sows and 1 boar now.
So what is that process like?
Same process. You just feed them and let them grow.
Yeah, but you don't have to worry about them like breeding with each other?
Not right now.
What happens when we get there?
We will cross that bridge when we get there. Right now we're just letting them grow. We've got ham bone, loin, chops, and bacon.
We did have a friend come over the other day and ask if we named them, and that's what Nathan said. It was pretty funny. Alright, my camera is about to die, but I'm going to run out there real quick and show you guys. Hey, watch out. You guys can see all the little kitty cats. Hey, Junie. That one doesn't really want you to mess with it, okay? We may actually never make it to the pigs because there's something else I really want to show you guys. It's worth it, I promise. Check out that bad guy. This is the teddy bear variety sunflower. Isn't that magnificent? Look, this one's like half and half. I think it's so pretty. Okay, really, my camera's flashing. We gotta hurry. Well, I got all the way down here and they are way in the corner, probably just getting adjusted to each other. Oh, the ones we've had for a while, they're starting to make their way up here. Probably because they think that there's food. We have thoroughly enjoyed having these pigs. I am happy to have another one. Nathan just loves them, and so that is enough reason for me to keep having more here on the farm. They've actually just, oh, look at them coming. Hey, piggy piggies. Hey, what y'all doing? Oh, the other one's starting to come. Hey. Hi. You think I have food for you? Is that the deal? You silly little piggy. So that one right over there is the new one. Oh, well, they're not standoffish. Hi, piggy piggies. Hi, piggy piggies. Man, there has just been so many amazing things happening on our farms. New little piggies, new gardens, fresh start on the tunnel. I am just feeling super rejuvenated, which is why I mentioned earlier, take care of the gardener, because then you'll want to garden. It really is true. I'm in a better headspace, right? Having goals, having visions, but not wearing myself out, not putting unrealistic expectations on myself, I think is huge. And that is really just kind of the message I wanted to send out today. You're doing a great job. It may be a slow, one step at a time, one season at a time progress, but you're doing it. And that's really all that matters. Every seed you put in the ground is a seed that you didn't the year before. Every vegetable or flower that you harvest is one that you didn't in the past. And that is a victory, and that's worth celebrating. And you are worth celebrating. And sometimes I need to remind myself of that on the hard days. And sometimes maybe you need to remind yourself of that on the hard days, but we're all trying. We're all doing it differently in our own ways, what works best for us. But I truly believe that every step we take forward is a step of doing it better and figuring it out in a better way that works for us. And so be encouraged today, gardeners, farmers, homesteaders all around. It is a marathon and not a sprint, but you can do this. I can do this. Together, we can stinking do this, and it's gonna be great, and I cannot wait to show you guys the progress. I can't wait to shoot a vlog next week and have all the raised bed gardens cleaned out and planted. It's gonna be such a glorious day. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and the pigs and Nathan and the garden, and we will talk to you soon.